Hey everyone, it's the Mindful Guitarist here, and today I'm just going to show you some tips to help make your guitar lessons more productive. So say you're taking lessons from a teacher in person, highly recommended to expedite your learning process. Just learn the guitar as fast as possible with an expert's help. The best thing that you can do to help make that time, which is just 30 minutes a week, as productive as it can be, is just come to the lesson with at least one question. And that's kind of the bare minimum. So, you're paying somebody to help you with your guitar, to give you their expert advice. And while you might think, well, this person is an expert, they can clearly see what I need to do. And that's true, definitely. I feel like I can watch all my students play for about 30 seconds and pretty much just tell right off the bat how many days a week they've practiced and for how long. When you don't come with a question, what it does is it makes your progress a little bit more difficult to gauge. So it's kind of like the shortest term goal that you can possibly have. So you come to the lesson with this question. At the end of the lesson, at the very least you can say, well, was that question answered? And in some ways you can say, well, is my investment worth it? Alright, so this next one kind of ties into coming with a question, and that is you need to think about what unique perspective your teacher can provide you. So what kind of guitar player is your guitar teacher? Are they a jazz person? Do they like rock music? Do they love to solo? Are they a great rhythm guitar player? What techniques are they great at? What kind of bands do they play in? Do they record their own music? These are kind of things that can help inform you as to, exactly what is their expertise or where is their passion. Which isn't really to say that they couldn't help you with any question that you'd have about guitar, but specifically, if I want to learn how to play Over All the Things You Are, which is a jazz standard, I'm probably not going to ask a rock guitar teacher how to do that. Even though they probably have some theory knowledge and they can probably play guitar really, really well. If I want to be a jazz guitar player, I should probably look to a jazz guitarist to learn how to do that the very best. So once you've started coming to your lessons with a question every time, and you've sort of gathered and quantified what your teacher is best at, the next thing that you can do, and really the first thing that you should do, like from the very first lesson if possible, is you should set some goals. You should set some goals with your teacher for the next couple months. I usually set goals with my students for about 2 to 3 months. And what that does is it helps us measure our progress over many lessons, and then it also helps us kind of figure out what the next step is once we've sort of completed whatever it is we were working on. When you start setting goals for your lessons over the course of a couple months, like I was just laying out, one of the things that you need to do after that is you need to make sure that your expectations are realistic. So, are you a mother? Are you somebody that is in school, graduate school? Are you someone that, works 2 jobs or something? Maybe your progress is going to be limited by how much time you have available to play guitar. That is completely fine, and it's something that I come across as a music teacher every single day. So what I make sure and do with all of my students is I make sure and lay out, okay, how many days a week can you practice? How much time do you have available on those days to play guitar? How much time do you even want to play guitar? And when we sort of quantify those numbers, it makes them feel a lot more comfortable with however fast or slow their progress is. The most important part is just maintaining your commitment to yourself and continuing on this path that you've laid out for the next few months. Another thing I've found is once those realistic expectations are set for your goals, people tend to enjoy the process a lot more. And I think that is probably the number one determining factor into whether or not people continue to play. So come with a question, set goals for the next 2-3 months, have realistic expectations for those goals, and I think you'll find that playing guitar becomes a lot more fun. So when you're in lessons, one of the things that you sort of need to gauge for yourself, and your teacher will definitely, this is on every teacher's radar, every single lesson, but you need to figure out how much of your lesson you want to be guided practice. And if you haven't heard that term before, guided practice just essentially means that you are practicing guitar in your lesson with your teacher just simply watching you or playing along with you to make sure that your technique is good, that you're playing at a speed that you can handle, and that you're actually making progress when you play. Guided practice is another good opportunity for you to observe what a productive practice session looks like. So it's definitely a priority in every teacher's lesson plan, I think, to have that. But sometimes the student needs more than maybe what they're willing to say, and that can be difficult to gauge from our end. So if you feel like you need to practice more with us watching you, please say so. It is definitely something that we will happily oblige, and as long as you feel like at the end of the lesson that you made good progress and that you know what you need to do on your own for the next week, then I would say that's a great lesson, and guided practice is something that can help you get that feeling. Another thing that can help you with your goal setting and just being productive during lessons, and also giving you material to work with between lessons, maybe if you've completed whatever it was you were working on but your next lesson isn't for 3 or 4 more days, is you can make a list of songs that you want to learn in advance, and you can work through those songs with your teacher, or you can work on those songs in between lessons. I think always having something ready to practice is essentially the message here, right? So just go through the greatest rock songs of all time or something and try and learn them all. Or you can Google, top 50 beginner guitar songs, or the hardest guitar solos ever made. Whatever it is, find a list or make a list and use that as a reference point for your progress. Alright, these last two are incredibly important, and they might seem a little silly, but trust me, it happens every single day. The first tip is accept that some things cannot be skipped. So if you are wanting to be the most righteous metal guitarist of all time, you still have to learn how to play open chords. It is still useful for you to learn how to play bar chords. There are tons of things that lie ahead for you playing metal and doing all that great stuff, but there are also equally important general music concepts that will allow you to be the guitarist that you want, that don't seem immediately interconnected with the music that you like. So please trust your teacher when they're trying to teach you these basic fundamental concepts, because those are the concepts that you need to build upon in order to become the musician that you want to be. And the last one, I think, is actually the biggest challenge for a lot of students, and that is to simply be open to changing how you play and how you think about your playing. I can't tell you how many times I've been teaching bar chords to a student and they say that it's just not comfortable for them, or that they can't make their hand that shape. And then, lo and behold, 2 months later or a month later, they're playing them phenomenally with no mistakes at all. And the important thing to remember here is, if you have a good teacher, which there are so many great guitar teachers out there, I'm sure you do. If you have a good teacher, you gotta trust them. We've been playing guitar most of our lives, however X number of years, and you just gotta trust the experts on this one. There are tons of techniques that are super difficult, that take a lot of practice, that don't feel completely natural at first. And the reason for that is because you've never done them before, and we have. So trust our opinion, be open to trying things differently. If you're a beginner, or if you're taking lessons from a teacher, you are there specifically to do things differently. So just keep that in mind. Be open to changing how you play. Be open to changing how you think about how you play. Because that openness is the number one, I would say, determining factor in how much you get out of your lessons with the teacher. If you go to your teacher and you think you already know how to play, you're not going to get very much progress, because you're just playing in front of somebody. You're not listening to their input. Okay, that does it for now. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe. Check out the quick tricks videos that I've been posting. And I really hope this makes all your guitar lessons a lot more productive.